Welcome to Tech Tip Daily. Today we'll be going over another AI, which is called Gemini, which is created from Google. And we're going to start by simply going to the Gemini website. So to do so, simply just type in Gemini on Google search, and the first one that'll pop up is gemini.google.com. That is where you want to go. If you are signed into a Google account, you'll already be signed into Gemini. You might be prompted to accept one or two privacy concerns. However, you will be basically signed in and ready to go on the AI Gemini. So it'll say hello and it'll say your name, and from there you can begin to play around with the Gemini AI app. As you can see here, you can choose which model you want to operate on. You can work with the 2.5 Flash, which is the one that they give you by default. You can preview with the Pro, which I'm pretty sure you can utilize for free, or you can go ahead and upgrade just like with ChatGPT, which would require a payment. As you can see here, you can go to your new chat, or you can explore gems, which I'm going to take a look at. What's this? So the Gem Manager is pre-made by Google. You can go ahead and see that this is pretty much a similar concept to different GPTs. You can ask it to be a career guide, a brainstormer, a coding partner, or a chess champ, or they probably have various different ones that you can utilize. For instance, if you're writing a paper, you can utilize this one. Let's try that for fun. And see if we're in writing editor, we can ask it to do certain things such as fix grammatical errors, edit a specific style, and so on and so on. So you can go to explore different gems and utilize your Gemini in different with different gems, which is like different GPTs. Now let's go to new chat, and we'll just go off the basic, and let's ask it a simple question just to test out Gemini and see how good it is. How old is Donald Trump, and how long has he been president? See, so it's very similar to ChatGPT and other AIs. I actually find it a lot more concise. As you can see, it's pretty quick. There's not like a overly detailed response that you often get with ChatGPT or even Grok for that matter. And this is in its earlier stages, I believe, Gemini, but it is a useful AI app. Now, when using Gemini, like other AI apps, what you can do is you can go ahead and click Add Files down here, and you can upload specific files that you'd like. You can now upload images along with other file types, meaning in the case that you wanted Gemini to go ahead and analyze, let's say, like your buys and sells of a current year in some sort of company, or any Excel file or anything of that sort, you can upload it and it'll analyze it for you. You can ask it to you can even upload your CV or your resume and ask it to improve it for you, and it'll be able to do that and give you suggestions on what you can do to upgrade or fix your resume. You can even upload a resume and ask it, how can I improve this resume for a specific job title? So in the case that you're applying for something in tech, they can give you recommendations on how to improve that resume through to be specific to a tech job. As mentioned earlier, when you click here, you can upload files in general. That includes photos. So you can upload a photo and ask Gemini to go ahead and edit a photo, and it'll basically do like almost any other AI in a pretty solid fashion to edit your photo to what you would like. So let's go ahead and try that for fun. Let's upload a photo. Let's upload this one. Please make this character blue. Now let's see how it goes. Now, one of the things I noticed with Gemini while using it is that it's very fast, at least in comparison to ChatGPT and especially Grok. And now that's actually fantastic, in my opinion. This is one of the better ones that I've seen in terms of image generation and image editing. Now let's ask it, please make the hoodie green. Hopefully it'll be able to edit it, and because I just wanted the character to be blue, but it's pretty much identical. That's very impressive. And there you have it. It does it pretty. This is probably the best image editing I've seen so far, to be honest. That's pretty remarkable. So now let's see if it can create an image for us now from scratch. So can you please create an image of Joe Biden with a mullet? Now the speed so far has been very quick, much quicker than the free version of ChatGPT, and it's certainly, I'm still learning how to generate certain kinds of images, so I might not be able to create exactly what you're looking for yet, or it may go against guidelines. If you'd like to ask, I guess because it's a presidential person, it's a problem. Let's go ahead and say, can you create a man with a mullet? Let's just see what happens with this. But in terms of speed, it's great, but I guess there will be some extra censorship since it is Google, and they're known to be very very censored. I find that Grok, well, there you go, pretty good, pretty decent quality. I'm not a fan of the censorship idea here. You should be able to just do what you want for the most part. If it's not super controversial, I think that would have been fine. But in comparison to Grok, you can do almost anything in terms of image generation, but the image generation isn't great at all. ChatGPT, it has a bit of censorship, and the image generation is pretty good. However, the image editing here is much better. This is fantastic. Another thing you can do with Gemini is you can go to the little plus sign down here, and instead of uploading files, you can add directly from your Google Drive. So if you have a Google Drive connected, you could basically go ahead and upload it directly from your Google Drive, almost very similar to connected apps on ChatGPT or Grok. Now, in the case that you wanted to ask it a question and you wanted to have a more thorough research, you can click Deep Research here. It would start a new chat. Selecting this tool will start a new chat. You can return this conversation at any time. Okay. Don't ask me again. New chat. And then now, see, it's claiming that they have better text and image quality. Let's see. That's if you upgrade. Now, if we wanted to do, okay, how much has the cancer rate increased in 2025? So deep research, it's more of a academic type of prompt search as opposed to the other one. As opposed to the generic, it'll actually go and find more detailed research-based concepts, and you can actually go ahead. So this is extremely useful if you were trying to compare different things, or if you're trying to write an academic paper, in my opinion, because then you can basically see what the AI is going to be doing, and then you can go ahead, edit the plan, or start research directly from what it's offering. So as you can see here, it'll be finding official projections, and then identifying the most available actual statistics, and then going through each of it and analyzing if my initial claim and question was true. So you go ahead and start research. And it'll break down exactly if it is true and how to, well, basically analyze the data that's available and present a research analysis, essentially, with actual sources and or studies. Right, so you can click the Show Thinking. I'm on it. I'll let you know when your research is done. In the meantime, you can leave this chat. So it's taking its time. This is probably going to take quite a little while, but it is doing a deep search into what we just asked it to do, which is fantastic, as I said earlier, for academic papers or things where you really want to do a deep analysis on a topic. And then after a few minutes, you'll see that the research is completed, and you can basically go over what it has found and exactly what it discusses on that topic. And it went into complete depth with research and sources to back it up. And in a sense, it pretty much writes a giant research paper for you that you would have to edit yourself and recreate in your own words, obviously, but it does give a good understanding of a topic that you can dive really deep into with sources that are completely cited and given at the end of the deep search. As you can see here, you can also ask it questions, follow-up questions regarding the topic, and it can answer that for you and give you more insight on the topic. So that's just another interesting thing that you can utilize with Gemini. Let's start a new chat. All right. Another interesting thing you can utilize Gemini for is to basically connect it to your Gmail directly. So we'll go to our Gmail, and just to give you perspective, you will have to pay for this, I believe. However, it does give you quite a few benefits if you do have it. As you can see here, you can click Try Gemini, and you can go ahead and click Try It Out. And you would have to pay for it, at least on the minimum, for the minimum. However, once you do have Gemini as an extension to your Google, what happens is you can utilize Gemini to summarize emails and help you with writing emails and anything under the sun regarding your Gmail connected with Gemini. So Gemini is a great tool to utilize for emails, and that's not exactly something that a lot of AIs offer right now. So that is very cool. Another interesting thing you can utilize Gemini for is to basically turn on the microphone and use speech mode with it the same way that you would with other AIs, and it'll respond to you in a chat mode the same way, for instance, with ChatGPT's voice mode. You can speak to Gemini and ask it questions, and it'll respond to you based on your voice as opposed to writing text. That's a little quick way to ask questions in a more simple manner, at least for some people. So you could essentially utilize Gemini with almost every Google app that exists so far, including Google Docs as well as Gmail. And I'm pretty sure there's a few others, but for Docs, you can also utilize it to analyze the data sets that you have in there, or whatever files it is. You can basically ask Gemini to say what it is without even opening it. So it's useful to also connect to Google Docs. However, I don't actually have any Google Docs or utilize it, so I won't be able to show you as an example. But keep that in mind that you can utilize Gemini for other apps on Google other than just Gmail. And finally, another interesting thing you can do with Gemini compared to other AIs is that you can basically find data sets similar to what we were discussing earlier with cancer rate in our research. We can go find a table, let's say, or a graph, and if we have a hard time interpreting the data, we can take the image, bring it to Gemini, paste it, or if you saved it, just import it from your files, and say, please explain the data in this to me, or you can ask it to break it down in a separate way as well. But it can basically analyze photos and then explain to you exactly what it is. That way you understand tables or different graphs or anything that you have a difficult time understanding more simply. You can basically just upload or copy paste almost any graph or form of statistics and ask it to analyze it, which is also great if you were doing some form of accounting or anything under the sun that regarding financials that you have a hard time calculating. You can always upload the documents or file and ask it to analyze it for you. It's a lot easier, and I've actually utilized this on other AIs as well. They all kind of operate the same way, and it's fantastic to actually do your own accounting and find out exactly how much you are spending or buying and selling in different contexts. It's helpful as it also gives a key takeaway at the end here, which states basically the data clearly illustrates that a history of cancer diagnosis becomes much more common as people age, and in the older age ranges, especially 75 plus, a higher proportion of males have a prior cancer diagnosis compared to females. So you get the key takeaway without even having to really look at the table or data. So that's very helpful for, especially for academics. And that's about it in terms of our walkthrough. Hopefully this helped you guys understand Google Gemini a little bit better. It's still in development and it's still improving, but from a first glance I find it very useful and pretty cool in comparison to others, especially for the image editing. It is top tier in my opinion. Anyway, so I hope this helped you guys out. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, and have a nice day.